And we're back, ladies and gentlemen, with our NFL segment of episode 172 of the Splashcast Monday Night Raw. Happy holidays. Make sure y'all like, follow, and subscribe. Got a few things we're going to talk about today. First off, before we get into these Falcons and this Victory Monday, before we get into this playoff seeding and scenarios, before we do all of those things, we want to go ahead and wish Randy Moss T's and P's. Randy Moss posted this after it was revealed that he had a bout of cancer that he beat. I believe it was cancer of the pancreas, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Either that or the kidney. I can't remember exactly. And there's not been the most information provided on exactly what. And I'm fine with that because it ain't our business. At the end of the day, the only thing that matters is we hope that Randy heals up and gets better. The reason that this was important to me is, if y'all remember when Randy was originally drafted, they had one of the greatest wide receiver groups I've ever seen put together. Chris Carter, one of my personal favorites, one of the, I think, top 10 receivers of all time. Jake Reed, elite wide receiver 2, and Randy Moss.
Grambling State.
Yes. They were famously known as 3 Deep because they were 3 murderers. And to see Jake Reed and and Chris Carter come out and celebrate Randy Moss, man, this meant the world to me. As an NFL 2K player back in the day, this is one of my favorite teams. This is an old Mad team with Robert Smith.
Dreamcast. Right, Robert Smith play action pass to throw deep to Randy Moss. All you had to do, or run the ball.
I ain't seen Jake Reed in a month of Sundays. To see him come out and do this for Randy Moss meant the world to me. And y'all know Randy Moss, Ricky Henderson, Deion Sanders. These are people we grew up as far as icons. Yeah, man. And yeah, show up. Like, it's one thing to tell somebody, hey, all of this, to actually show up for somebody. And then also Justin Jefferson, we're playing the video now. He basically dedicated the first touchdown he caught last week to Randy Moss. That was beautiful, man. Excellent.
Yeah, classy move by Minnesota as well.
Black men showing up for each other, man. That's dope. We got
classy move by the organization of Minnesota. Classy move by the NFL. Classy move, classy all the way around. And we're happy that Randy Moss is on the other side of this. Hopefully he stays on the other side of this. Shout out to Randy. All right. These Falcons did what they were supposed to do. The Falcons played the New York Football Giants, who are in a battle for first pick, not first place.
Not even close.
I think the Giants are now 2-12, or they're somewhere in there.
They're 10 types of terrible for sure.
So we played the Giants, and the thing about this game was, not only did we start our rookie, controversial, as I've learned, our controversial pick at number 8, we started rookie Michael Penix Jr. And basically this was his first start after benching Kirk Cousins. So with that being said, there's a lot of places we can go. First off, shout out to the Falcons. We won. I do like that Kirk Cousins, which we kind of knew because this is who he is now. This is his persona, is being a classy guy. He went up to the podium after they announced that it was going to be Michael Penix for not even for one game. They said it's Michael Penix for the rest of the season. He said, I like to shoot elephants in the room, so I just wanted to shoot one. Meaning, he reached out to Michael Penix after the decision was made and told him that he is there for him to be any help that he can. And he later has come out and said within the last couple of days that he will be the best backup that he can ever, that the Falcons could have in the league, is his goal. So you had that aspect of it. Then you also had Michael Penix, who said he worked his whole life to get to this point. Classy guy, Didn't say anything when Kirk Cousins was struggling. Always kept his helmet on. Always stayed ready. And when he showed up in the Burberry with the Penix chain, with the Atlanta Mercedes-Benz Stadium on top of his name, dripped out, ready to go, and was feeling very, 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 very confident. So, shout out to the Falcons for winning. Where you want to start? I'll let you go.
There are a couple kind of different things. You kind of touched on them a little bit. Kurt has done the absolute best job of when he was a leader, he led. When it didn't go his way, he didn't play the blame game. He said it was me. When he got benched, he said he clearly understood why he got benched. It was because of the turnovers. The reason I say that, and y'all are probably like, oh, that's probably easy to do. No. If you haven't had a chance, Aaron Rodgers. Anybody could have done what Aaron Rodgers is doing right now and is just destroying the New York Jets week by week by week by week. Kirk has been a class act. He said, like Reggie said, I shoot elephants. I went right in. All right, I'm the backup now. Let me call this guy who's a rookie and probably has all the controversy and everybody talking about him. Let me just call him and say, bro, it's your job now. And then on top of that, to come in next and say, I want to be the best backup quarterback I can be. This is the reason I'm a little bit more okay with paying Kirk Cousins. Because you also get this part on the back end. You don't have somebody who throws a team in disarray. You don't have somebody who's going to sit there with a stupid face. You don't have somebody who's looking at this point now that the season is over or could be over to start controversy with everybody at ESPN and make this team go crazy. You don't have, I mean, if you want to look at how bad this could go, look at the New York Jets. They're talking about Garrett Wilson might be one now, all of these things. I know Kirk didn't work out the way that Reggie and I ideally saw it in our head or anything like that, but this could have been so much worse than it actually is. You also paying Kirk to be the adult that he is, and I appreciate that.
I was with you till you said I'm willing to keep him on the roster at $65 million.
No. I didn't say that. If that's what y'all understood, let me be very clear. No, I'm not keeping him on the roster. And
you just said we're paying him.
Well, when I say keeping him on the roster, I mean, like, that's why we signed him, is that when you sign a guy like Kirk Cousins, chances are when things, for whatever reason split up, he's not going to set everything on fire like Aaron Rodgers. But we can address the fact now that I've seen two different stories here. One thing is that we are going to cut him before March 17th to save $10 million, which would just kind of, I guess, bring us down to like $55 million dead cap space. I also saw that he may be considering retirement. Now, Kirk, if you really love us, you just retire, and then we wouldn't have that dead cap space.
And well, you still have to. The cap space for next year is going to be there regardless.
Even if he retires?
Yeah, it's guaranteed money. That's dead cap. But it's not going anywhere.
Can't you like stretch that money? I'm pretty sure if he retires,
man, we've done the kicking the can down the road.
No. That's different. The Matt Ryan put it at the end of the contract. That's one thing. But if you retire and we say we're going to pay you over like 5 years, you're not coming back out of retirement. We're not going to pay you later. So yeah, I would have to look at that, but I think you can do that if they retire.
Yeah, if Cousins retires, he'd be leaving a lot on the table, but he'd still be owed $90 million from the Falcons.
Yes, but I think that $90 million, you can do some razzle dazzle with that. I'm almost 100% sure.
If you would do a solid, if you're gonna do that, Kirk, and you think about retirement, which I don't. we always say quarterback is few and far between in terms of good quarterbacks. I am sold on the fact that he would be a good stopgap between your future for the next 2 or 3 years. But if you gonna retire, Kirk, you can retire and come back and be the quarterback's coach. Work with Michael Penix. You are to live here. Your wife from here. You ain't moving no more unless you going down to Minnesota.
I think that you guys, I think that they do have a good relationship. I honestly think that, because I think that they're both two guys who don't really live in ego. Kirk has been a class act, good or bad. When he was winning, he won, but he was classy. When he lost, he took accountability. You know how I feel about quarterbacks and accountability. He didn't blame anybody, even though I think that. Well, the other part about this is, well, let's put that to bed. Number one, Kirk, whatever you decide. And I would love to have you as a quarterback's coach. And I think it would be great. With Kirk getting out of there has been a new turn. Now that you can't hate Kirk anymore because he's on the bench, Kyle Pitts is the new guy.
Yeah. I think I do agree that Fontenot was saying that this is phase 2. I do agree that phase 1 was to get out of cap hell. Phase 2 was to sign Kirk Cousins for 2 years and then be able to then turn the corner to where you would have Penix, Bijan, Drake, maybe Kyle Pitts, maybe. And you would basically have everybody under 25. Well, everybody under 26. You would have your offense set. And theoretically, you just have to, not theoretically, in reality, you just had to do it this season versus at the end of next season. But the Falcons have invested a lot in our offense. And to be honest, 3 out of 4 ain't bad. Bijan looks like he's going to be pretty good. Michael Penix, you're hoping he's going to be pretty good. And Drake London is good. So the only person that is Kyle Pitts. And Kyle Pitts just looks like he's uninterested with being with honestly, he looks like he's uninterested with being with the Falcons anymore. I think he's had so much instability on offense with this team that he has lost his passion and his focus, shown by this interception where it should have been a first down on 4th and whatever it was. Yeah, 4th and 2. It should have 3rd and 2. It should have been a first down, and he just caught the ball and then threw it to the defender is what it looked like.
I hate to say it, but Kyle Pitts.
Gather your things.
Yeah, for sure. And let me be very clear. I was questionable about the pick when we made it, but I was fine. But when you see Drake London, who's willing to do all the things that Kyle Pitts seems very disinterested in doing. Not Kyle Pitts. Drake London is an active seeker of the ball. If you throw the ball up near Drake London, he is going to do his damnedest to try to get it. He don't take plays off. He don't loaf. And he got an attitude about him. He really is. I don't want to call him a sensitive light skin, but you better not get over there playing and think because he's light skin, he's soft. He will punch you in your mouth.
He's Mike Evans. He is Mike Evans.
For sure.
He is Mike Evans part 2 in every way, shape, and form. Attitude, the way he plays, catch the ball, run, everything. But
he ain't no chump.
Back to Pitts.
Well, hold on. Then you get to Bijan. Bijan's top 5 running back and not 5. I think that he's not better than Derrick Henry, but you're going to have him a lot longer than Derrick Henry's going to be able to stick around. He's not better than Saquon, but you're going to have him.
He's in the Saquon mode.
Yes. Then you look at a guy like maybe Christian McCaffrey, maybe, but those injuries.
Then once you start getting to them Achilles,
and both of them. So, yeah, when you look at a guy like Bijan, if you're looking at futures at running back, I don't know. I don't think there's a guy that you want. I think that he would be the best pick for futures at running back. Drake London is a man, and Michael Penix, it's early, but one of the things we've already seen him do is play a lot of college football. He's an adult.
Played
He
6 years.
I ain't gonna say that, but
He
he
did play 6
has
years.
no. What I'm saying is he has like the demeanor of Kirk Cousins. I think that he's just gonna be better because he's a better athlete, all of that. But he's classy and he's an adult. He don't do a lot of childish stuff.
Well,
You're not gonna worry about him being Kyler and playing Call of Duty and all the rest of that. Like,
I think it's because he's also had a unique experience. He started out at Indiana. He wasn't highly, I mean, he was rated, but he wasn't highly rated. He tore his knees up every year. And then he ended up going to Minnesota and finally got healthy. And you were like, oh, nah, he's really good.
Washington.
I'm sorry. Minnesota, Washington, purple, gold. Washington. And he ended up leading them to the championship game. And I mean,
he's an adult, man.
Michigan was good, but he also had broken ribs too, or bruised ribs. So I mean, he plays really well. So his experience, he's actually developed.
Correct. And got 14 games developed as a rookie in the NFL versus being stuck in the fire. And now, like, that's the reason I keep going back to Bryce. Everybody's like, Bryce sucks. Bryce does not suck. This team sucks. This coach probably sucks. This ownership group sucks. But you got to protect these guys for it. And that's exactly what Raheem said. I want to protect him as long as I could because I've seen what happened to these young quarterbacks, and it's not really fair to them.
Yeah. So, Kyle Pitts, dangerously close to fulfilling the stereotype of being a bust. But let's talk about some positive things here.
Hold on. One more thing about that though is, maybe we can get him on the cheap.
Yeah. That was another thing I thought. I was like, you may be able to get him on like a 2-year, $20 million, $25 million, 2-year, $20 million deal.
Yeah.
Especially if you go keep that, having him and re-signing him on the cheap would allow you to keep Kirk Cousins along a little longer.
It wouldn't even be necessarily keeping the Kirk Cousins, is that you sign this deal, you have a new quarterback who is probably helps you out. Now, I will say, we got to watch the game. When you watch the game, he also just not the guy that people go to. That has been consistent. Whether
Kyle Pitts, he's not explosive.
Yes. Whatever. I don't even know if it's not just being explosive, because there is just safety in, I can go to a guy and I know he can make a catch. He might not like blow it open, but I know that this is my safety blanket, especially with a lot of tight ends, especially for young quarterbacks or older, less mobile quarterbacks. I can just dump down to my tight end. He'll catch the ball. We get 7 every time.
Well,
but he
ain't never been that. You better.
he ain't, like, that's the other part. That's the reason that you look at Drake London. When things get bad, throw the ball to Drake London. He gonna catch it. We're gonna get 7-8 yards at worst. And after I saw Ritter do that, Heineke do that, Kirk do that, and then Penix immediately started doing that, oh, it is what it is. Proof is in the pudding. They keep calling your numbers because they trust you more than they trust him.
Yeah, him and Mooney definitely. Because he went to Mooney a lot.
Exactly.
A lot.
So now, you being who you are, you need to do some things to clean your image up too. You need a little bit of a rehab. So I think that it might be in his best interest to stick around and see if he can fix it. I don't know if he can, but you should try for your own best interest.
So let's talk about some positive things. The defense had 2 pick sixes. The defense caused a lot of havoc against this team. Now, again, Falcons fans, yes, we won 34-7. Yes, Penix played, and we'll get back to Penix because I want to actually break down his performance in his first game debut. But the defense
did the heavy lifting.
Did all of the heavy lifting against the top lottery pick in the league. The Falcons defense had 2 pick sixes. Jesse Bates basically baited Drew Lock into throwing a pick six, and then there was a weird play where the offensive line for the Giants just didn't block anybody, and the ball got tipped and intercepted, and they just stood there.
Too, my boy. They just let you get jumped.
I'll say that Malik Neighbors is him. As bad as this team is,
he's Timothy.
He's him.
Got a doubt.
I just hope he doesn't end up like Garrett Wilson, because Garrett Wilson, I was like, he's him too now. He's good too. But the defense played really well. The offense only had 2 or 3 offensive penalties the whole game. I think they didn't get their first penalty to the second half.
Penalties were fantastic. Thank you for bringing that up. We didn't make a lot of stupid mistakes. The offense played okay. It didn't play spectacular. But that's another thing, is just don't give up the ball a lot. It keeps you in games that we were getting ourselves put out of. Just not making stupid mistakes, not turning the ball over, not getting penalties, and then beating a team that's a bunch of chumps.
Yeah. So, all right, let's get to it. Defense played well.
Fantastic. You got 2 pick sixes. Defense did their job.
Bijan Robinson reached 1,000 yards. Algier looked pretty good. They actually ran him in the first half, which I was surprised.
Which was nice.
What I will say about Penix's performance, they definitely were trying to introduce him slowly. And I understand now why you picked this game. If you were going to make a change, you picked this game, because you were able to not have to drastically introduce a whole bunch of different plays. Zach Robinson definitely called the game a little differently with Penix after the first quarter. But for the most part, all the throws that Michael Penix made, Kirk Cousins could make. All of the reads and progressions that he made, Kirk Cousins can make. But the difference between him and Kirk Cousins is, once he decided where he was going with the ball, there was no pump fake. There was no nothing. This is where the ball is going. Either it's going to hit you in the hands, or it's going to go on the ground. Or, in case you're Kyle Pitts, then you'll shovel it to the other team. But what I'm excited for is that he was reading from left to right and right to left. On the deep pass to Drake London, he held the safety to the other side of the field.
Yep.
And then snapped back and threw it to him. That, I was like, oh, okay, so he actually has the fundamentals down pat, which is really, really good. I'm looking for Zach Robinson to open up the playbook. You're going to have to. You're going to have to open up the playbook this week.
Yes. For me, I liked it. It was scary, and I don't like it from an offensive line point of view, but he got slapped around early. And he didn't seem to be shaken after he got low-key crushed a couple of them plays.
That's the one thing the Giants do well, is rush the passer. The one thing.
Thibodeau was on his ass too. And it was chippy, but it was respectful.
Well,
Thibodeau's like, yo, yeah.
Oregon, Washington.
Yeah. And he was definitely trying to get him. And Penix was like, I'm going to get this ball out of here. Now, I will say receivers, pass catchers as a whole, you got to do better with the rookie, man. Y'all was dropping. Like,
the first quarter? Jesus Christ.
He was throwing darts, and y'all were dropping them. And I'm like, I don't think that y'all would shake his confidence, because I think it was pretty clear that the balls that he was throwing, pause. Whew. But it was just accurate.
Balls around.
He was so accurate. They were
balls
right on your chest. And somehow y'all were dropping them. And I'm like, come on, man, y'all have to do better. But his accuracy and location was great. to see him be able to take a hit and then bounce right back, that was great. And then also one of those plays, he got shaky and he just got out of the pocket, picked up like 6 or 7 yards and slid. And I was like, it's bad to say, but Kirk Cousins just could not do that.
Yeah,
And
Kirk Cousins couldn't move, and they ran play action, a couple times that you weren't going to be able to do that with Kirk Cousins.
And I think that's the reason that Kirk is probably considering retirement, is that I don't think that you're going to get a better team than the Falcons. And if you don't get a better team than the Falcons, it's going to be tough for you to do anything on offense. The play calling is shaky, but the weapons are there. There's not a place where you're going to go where you're going to have this many weapons. And if not, right now, you look like your brain works good. You're going to go somewhere and they're going to scramble you like an egg, my boy. Best thing for you to do sometimes is know when to hold them, know when to fold them.
Yeah, I think, yeah. So, I did notice in this game that Kyle Pitts,
one of them bottom tier teams end up with New York and just let people you saw the offensive line did to Drew Lock. They just fell down. How 2 offensive linemen just fall down at the same time is beyond me. With Kirk Cousins, they'll scramble you like an egg if that was you.
Yeah. So I did notice again, Falcons, and I'm not trying to be a negative Nancy, but they are still picking on our number 2 corner. Malik Neighbors was on AJ Terrell, nothing. They ran him to the other side of the field. Wandale Moore was cooking Mike Hughes. I was like, ooh. Now, D'Alford played well. D'Alford played really well. Mike Hughes, you might be on your way out, bro.
Yeah, that CB2 has to be addressed, but for now, it'll work.
Yep. And then, so how I'm going to do this is all related to the Falcons, but we'll talk about the other games that had to deal with the Falcons and our playoff push. So as we go forward, first off, while I open these up, I'll give you an update on the playoffs. The Carolina Panthers are out, but they ended up beating the Arizona Cardinals and got the Cardinals out of there as well. Bryce Young, they look like they're gearing up for a run next year. The Saints just lost and were eliminated before the game and then lost 24-0 tonight. And then the Buccaneers played the Cowboys. The Buccaneers played the Cowboys, and the Cowboys did the Buccaneers a favor. They ended up winning on a last-second defensive play, 26-24. Why was this important? We were a half game behind the Bucs. We swept them, and we have the best division record at 4-1. But the Bucs had the best overall record. If we finish with the same record or better, we go to the playoffs. If we don't, we go home. So the Cowboys ended up winning 26-24. And I will say, shout out to Dallas for having some heart. This was like a playoff game. Like, they were hitting so hard in this game. The safeties, the defense, the linebackers for Dallas was hitting hard. Micah Parsons was everywhere. The Buccaneers were playing. The defense was playing their heart out. Vita Vea, who was disgruntled, and every time I see that he was disgruntled and nobody went after him, they got him and dropped him into coverage. And then he just absolutely destroyed the tight end. Now, this is a defensive tackle that is 6'4", 350 plus pounds.
This is what nightmares are made out of. There's no reason for him to drop into coverage. If you're a tight end, you got your little out there, little wiggle route. You like, oh, I'm good. It's no way a defensive tackle is coming here to knock my face. There's not no juking for that. There's not a move for that. Let me tell you what also doesn't work against that. A stiff arm. Nothing. The only thing you can do is find him and run away from him. And especially getting a shot like that, they don't get enough of those. So when they get one, oh yeah, he's trying to crush you.
And let me tell you what's not going to work. Throwing number 80 out there. You see him in the background? He was supposed to come in there and try to stop number 50. Let me tell you what's not going to happen. Number 80 is never going to block number 50. That is never going to happen. Look at him. He's right there. He's looking. He's sizing up. He's like, what am I supposed to do here? I can't do it. I'm going to go after the DB that's not even in the picture.
Hey, Coach,
because Vita Vea ain't doing nothing. Can't do nothing with Vita Vea.
You can be mad. And I know I can't do anything but get in the way. He destroyed them. You're right, though. The defensive backs for Dallas flying around and destroying humans. They caught
this,
They caught Cade Otton on one, slapped his face. And this is the thing I kind of feel bad for Baker is the plays that he kind of lost it on.
He played his heart out, man.
Like played his heart out. This is a 50-50 ball that you just expect your wide receiver. You got to, hey, we're down by 9. I'm going to put a 50-50 ball up here. I need you to win this.
Well, this interception is what they call the interception that saved the Falcons season. Dallas was up 26-17, and they had pretty much dominated the whole game, but they could not pull away, and Baker started heating up. He had a 20-something yard run. He had a 15-yard run. He was cooking, and he laid a beautiful pass out for Miller. I think Scotty Miller to be that should have been a touchdown. McMillan, I'm sorry, for a touchdown, but it was actually intercepted by the Dallas safety. And the thing is,
it just took it from him.
If they scored here, they were going to come back and win this game. I fully expected for them to come back and win this game, but Dallas's DBs took a sensu bean and they went Super Saiyan and decided to go ahead and win this game.
And I want to say this, man, Baker Mayfield I know I'm the only person who probably a Baker Mayfield fan. Say what you want to.
Not
he
anymore.
Ain't no chump.
Not anymore. He's played his way into the good graces of everybody now. I don't think he's hated at all anymore.
He is a footballer. Every person on his team who talks about him, they talk about him in the most respectful. Especially a quarterback where you don't have guys who are willing to be tough and really get into it. They know whatever it is, if we get into some shit, Baker's into it with me. And even the play that ended the game, he had the dude holding on to him. He runs through the guy, pitches, throws the ball to what's his name, and then he gives the ball up. Here it is right here.
Yeah, so and I'm not even gonna blame this on Rachaad White, I'm not gonna blame this on Baker because they played a hell of a game and they were coming back to win it. That is just a great football play. That is a great football play. Baker got out of there. He was about to get sacked. He got it to Rachaad White. Rachaad White got off somebody else. They have one timeout, and he's just going to the ground. He's trying to hold the ball, and this guy decided after getting trucked, really, I mean, he got trucked. After getting trucked, and I'm just going to take the ball from you.
Yeah. So heads up football play.
Bland, that's his name. Bland, Deron Bland.
Yeah, and it was so crazy because it just looked like no way that's the same look that I had. Like, what? I feel bad for Baker, man. And
Baker was confused. He was confused. And look at him. And the thing is, this is what happens with Baker. And I think this is why he was forgiven because of everything he's gone. He was humbled. Old Baker would have been yelling, cussing, and all of those things. New Baker, and why he's so loved is it's like, dang, man, he goes out there. Even, matter of fact, it was not when he got to Tampa Bay when he was forgiven.
The Rams.
Nope. Well, the Rams too. The Rams gave him a chance, and he came out there and played well. But when you saw him do the mic'd up and the stuff in Carolina, when he was the D tackle and he was doing all of those things for that team and that team sucked and he was out there playing his ass off. That's when everybody was like, okay, you got away from Cleveland and then Cleveland never got better. And it was like, okay, so You got scapegoated. Well, I thought I heard somebody outside. I get click clack. Late at 12 o'clock over here, bro.
Yeah. Oh, Christmas Eve. You thought you was finna come in here? Hey.
I've been,
Not the
as I told my neighbor, I've been waiting.
It'll be an unmerry Christmas around here.
I just cleaned all of them the other day. They ready. But Baker played a hell of a game. But yeah, Dallas just played out of their mind. They played as if all of them were on the chopping block, which is they are, except for Micah, except for 3 people. Everybody else on the chopping block, and they played really well.
Are you sure? Are you sure it's 3 people? Because I wanted to ask you, and I've been thinking about this because you know Jerry, and Jerry does Jerry things. Is there a world where Jerry convinces himself that Cooper Rush, who's played well, Cooper Rush has played a decent amount of backup quarterback and hasn't done a terrible job. And Jerry loves Cooper Rush. And Jerry hates Dak.
So where we left off was, does Dak get replaced by Cooper Rush? Fuck no is my answer. Fuck no. And if Jerry does that, it'll add more evidence to my he's senile type conversation, and they need to go ahead and replace him.
Yeah, for sure. But
now you need to pay Micah though. And Micah's also lying. He says, if you're audio experience, we have a graphic that says, at that point, I don't think there's a big difference between $30 and $40 million. No, Micah, you say that till somebody offer you 55. You ain't taking 30 at 55, bro.
And let me be very clear.
Not for a 3-19.
Because I do think that he could probably talk himself into this. But let me give you a list of people who you should probably reach out to, have a short conversation, and see what they tell you. Number 1, Troy Aikman. Number 2, Emmitt Smith. Number 3, Dez Bryant. Number 5,
where you going with this?
Dak. People you should call before you say their money don't matter. All of those people, when it came down to the rubber to meet the road, Jerry did not pay them, and they all ended for whatever reason not feeling great about Jerry. Remember, Troy was not banging with Jerry for a long time. I don't think that they're still not the best of friends. Emmitt, we had to see Emmitt play for Arizona. That was terrible.
He broke the record with Arizona, if I'm not mistaken.
Right. Dez just kind of got thrown out, and Dak has always had to fight for his money. So Micah, don't get caught up in this football foolishness. Like football is a lot, but this is also your career. Make a good decision. And there are too many people who had unfortunate Jerry stories for you to just, you can do whatever you want to. It's your career. But there are people that are close to you who can tell you about their experiences, and that should shape and mold your experiences. Make good decisions with the information that you've been provided.
And there's too many other teams that would pay you. We talking about you. Somebody cooked the books to pay you, Micah Parsons, because what I saw yesterday, he was everywhere. They put him everywhere. Outside linebacker, rush in, middle linebacker, D tackle. He was everywhere. I mean, and you out there with no help.
Committed football player, playing to the best of his abilities, leaving it all out on the field. You can't ask for a player to do more than what Michael Parsons looks forward to doing. But don't get caught up in that, man.
Yep. So you have those games. So we'll wrap the Falcons talk up at this point, talking about us versus the Giants. We'll wrap that up. Shout out to the team. Hopefully we can do well moving forward. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers did us a favor. We talked about that. Oh, NFC dice roll. So now, because they lost, the NFC is kind of up for grabs. It's always been up for grabs. The NFC South's always been up for grabs. But the Falcons, basically, the odds of us winning the division and the odds of the Buccaneers literally flip-flop. I think they had a 54% chance of winning last week or something in the 50s, and we were at 40 or 30% chance of winning.
No, they were the 80s because they just assumed that you're going to beat Dallas with Cooper Rush at quarterback.
But yeah, we had
So they were like
24.7. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the Buccaneers are basically where the Falcons were. And honestly, with the schedule that they have left, we have one game. We have 2 games left. I think we play Carolina again? It's Carolina and Washington, right?
Correct.
Carolina would love to do anything to put us out. And I think they play Tampa Bay this week, right? Carolina?
And let me tell you, the Panthers are not the team that we beat earlier in the season.
And what I noticed,
they beat the Cardinals this weekend, and then the week before that, they lost by 1.
And then week before that, they got beat by the Chiefs on a blocked or missed field goal or something crazy like that. So the thing about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers playing against the Cardinals is this was the game that you noticed that they really missed Chris Godwin. That game against Dallas Cowboys, when all of those freaky weird ass plays and bobble catches and stuff was happening, they really needed Chris Godwin to dominate the middle of the field.
Right.
For us, for them going against Carolina, Carolina's peaking at the right time in terms of a team that's not going to make it. They are getting their confidence for next year, and Bryce Young is now very confident in his abilities to play in the league, which is the first thing a young quarterback has to do, is feel like they belong. Us, on the other hand, we play this team in Washington with this quarterback named Jaden Daniels, who just had a game where they came back against the Philadelphia Eagles. Sans Jalen Hurts. But they did come back against the Eagles behind a second half comeback in which he had 5 touchdowns. And they won 36-33. Now the Falcons have to go play this team that's 10-5, where Jaden Daniels had the game-winning drive, 5 touchdowns, down 21-7. And you have to play him in Washington with the playoffs on the line for both of you, but for them, they ain't made the playoffs in a long time.
Yeah. And they've definitely found their quarterback. Jaden Daniels is it.
Hold up, before you do that. And Dan Quinn is their coach. Dan Quinn still feels like he shouldn't have been fired. So you have all of those factors, and Olamide Zaccheaus. You got former Dan Quinn and Arthur Smith hire who they are familiar with. They have Olamide Zaccheaus there. They have Cordero Patterson in Pittsburgh, along with other Van Jefferson and other receivers. So you have teams that are got a little bit of a bitter taste in their mouth for the Falcons that's played for the Washington Commanders. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, the Commanders have found their quarterback. They feel very confident. They beat the Eagles, which is one of the teams that y'all try to tell me was the best team in football. And it's interesting. It's going to be a tough game, but this is a game that, it's a must win. It's a game we can win. And we need to win this game. And we need to beat Dan Quinn.
The Eagles have a really, really strong defensive tackle in Daron Payne. He's very difficult to stop. I'm not gonna let you say that smoke about the Eagles. Jalen Hurts got hurt. They were winning 21-0 when he got hurt, or 21-7. Then they put in Kenny Pickett. While I still think Jalen Hurts isn't a top 5 quarterback, I know that he for sure is better than Kenny Pickett.
Yeah, Kenny Pickett's 10 times as terrible.
So, in the way that they built that offense around Jalen Hurts, Once you take away the read option, the only person I got to worry about is Saquon Barkley. So, and the I keep making sure I don't say Redskins. The Commanders are uniquely qualified to be able to hang with the Philadelphia Eagles. And even with all that said, Devontae Smith dropped the catch that would have put them in game, that would have almost sealed the game. CJ Gardner-Johnson, what name is Chauncey? You got the wrong end of the penalty. I don't think you should have got kicked out for that. But your reputation precedes you now. This is who you are. You've been caught on tape, ripping the mouthpiece out of other players' mouth, instigating them, hitting them. And if you don't think that tapes are being sent to the league office about you, yesterday was evidence that tapes are being sent to the league office about you. You be on social media talking trash, losing your mind. The NFL, bro, and this is why you have to put some of these players in corporate America training. NFL is still a business. When you are not good for the business, they're going to get you out of there. When your reputation precedes you, they're not going to give you any leeway. If that were Devontae Smith that was yelling and cussing and all of that, they would have given him leeway because they know that's not his personality. You have no leeway. You got to be on your best behavior because you're too important to that team.
I agree with that, but also the phantom calls are the phantom calls. There was nothing there. You could see that he got the penalty, and the other dude put his finger in his face, like
hit his helmet off.
That wasn't straight. It's just bad. That was bad.
I agree. I'm not saying it was his fault that the penalty was on there, but your reputation and who you are and how you're viewed in the league is 100% you. That's unfortunate. So all of that to say, I'm not going to let you say that about the Eagles in terms of they're supposed to be this. There was a lot of things that had to happen this was a Dan Quinn win. We've been here. This was a Dan Quinn win. On paper, it looks great. You beat the number one team in the NFC East. You're about to clinch. You have the opportunity to clinch a playoff win. But when you go look at that game, you were down 21-7. Jalen Hurts was driving again, or 14-7. Jalen Hurts was driving again, and then he got hurt. Now the defense, Philadelphia, and Philadelphia fans who I was arguing with. Philadelphia fans who want to talk about all these things. Y'all ain't mentioned nothing about the defense.
That's what I'm talking about.
Terry McLaurin be kicking y'all ass. Mid, right?
Mid versus mid don't mean nothing but mid to me.
Philadelphia's defense ain't mid. They're not supposed to be.
Okay. Well, when you let the mid guy whoop you like that, you look mid to me. I'm gonna let the Steelers and the Eagles, I'm gonna let that play out. And the Ravens. Now, I think the Ravens and but that collection of teams, I think they're mid for different reasons. I think that they could be had at any point, any week. And I'm just gonna let it play out. I've made my opinion clear. I think that they're gonna do a very good job of proving me to be right. And then I'm gonna come in here and tell y'all. Y'all know that. Y'all know how this goes. Noah was right, and he tells us, and then we were like, God, why do you always have to tell us? Did you?
I mean, okay. Jaden Daniels is having a hell of a rookie year.
He's it.
I admit I was skeptical. They were comparing him to Lamar. I was like, dude,
he's not that.
He's not as dynamic as Lamar. He is leaps and bounds ahead of where Lamar was as a rookie passing. That game-winning pass, that anticipatory throw was chef's kiss. He threw that before Crowder even broke into the open part of the zone while being under pressure. That was pretty good.
Great. What I'm saying is just there's going to be negative regression next year. Please prepare for that. And that doesn't mean that he's not good or any of those things, because that's what CJ Stroud's struggling with right now. There's going to be negative regression. Just prepare for it so when it happens, y'all don't act crazy. Now, this takes me back to what I tell y'all every week. This is 100% why white people did not want black people to play quarterback. And for you people listening, this is what Reggie has on the screen right now is the highest ever passer rating by a rookie QB. What do all these guys have in common? They're black quarterbacks. Dak at 1, RG3 at 2, Jaden Daniels at 3, CJ Stroud at 4, and Russell Wilson at 5.
Yeah, highest ever passer rating by a rookie QB. Yeah, and for him to be better than CJ Stroud had one of the best rookie seasons we've had in the last 20 years.
Correct. CJ also had a his team was his team was a lot better, honestly.
Well, that's what I was going to say too about this. Again, when you bring a quarterback into a good situation, when you have established vets, you have a decent defense, you have good coaching.
Came in with defenses,
established vets. I think Robert Griffin had Pierre Garçon and Santana Moss. Like, you have established vets at wide receiver. You have established vets. You have established offensive lines, and you have established defenses, and you're set up to flourish. So,
Dak had the offensive line. Robert Griffin had Shanahan, Jaden Daniels. I would say that Jaden Daniels probably has the least amount of PEDs out of everybody here. CJ Stroud had a stacked offense and defense, and DeMeco Ryans. Russell Wilson had Legion of Boom and Pete Carroll. Jaden Daniels is doing this with a good defense, some decent receivers, and Dan Quinn.
Oh, Brian Robinson Jr. No, he's a physical back. He's a physical back.
Yeah, but he ain't Zeke. Yeah, and he ain't Marshawn. And then everybody else.
But he's a serviceable back who takes a lot of the pressure off of the quarterback.
Yeah, I think that Jaden Daniels is doing it with the most regular team is what I'm saying. I think that out of everybody, if you like look at these and take into account everything, he is just the most respectable. I think he's doing the most heavy lifting.
He definitely is. There's definitely more weight on his shoulders for sure.
I mean, Robert Griffin, I think you're good, but Shanahan, we've seen Shanahan gonna do it everywhere he goes.
Well, Shanahan actually, ironically, is the reason there's the demise of Robert Griffin. So you got
RG3 went to the principal's office.
So you got the battle of the rookie QBs. You got number 2 versus number 8 draft picks. You're gonna have Dan Quinn against his old team. We already talked about it. Falcons got to open up the playbook. Key matchups for me is how the Falcons secondary holds the coverage against the Commanders receivers. I think the Falcons can hold the Commanders run game in check. David Onyemata is a really good run defender. He's really good. And now that all of our other defensive tackles and linemen and that we've picked are starting to round into form, or especially with Lorenzo Carter back, I never thought I'd say that. Lorenzo Carter makes a huge difference on this defense. I think we can hold them in check running the ball, but we're going to have to be able to figure out, and you may have to unleash Caden Ellis as a pure pass rusher to allow him to get after Jaden Daniels.
He'll be getting it.
Yeah, he got one of them kids
where he just kind of gets you right off of him, and it'd be like every time.
We're actually kind of set up to play this team very well. But you're going to have to let Caden Ellis go run around. The best thing I've ever seen the Falcons do with him is don't try to make him think. Don't put him in space as a linebacker and have to guard the tight end and do the switch route and drop him in the flat and figure out. Just let him go run around. Just let him be athletic. They go let him run around and let him be athletic, and he makes plays. I think that we could play against them. And then, of course, our matchup is going to be on offense. Is going to be our offensive line versus their defensive line. We hold their defensive line in check. We score on this defense.
Yeah,
Pure.
I think that, man, let's be real here. We Falcons fans. I want to love and believe, but in there too many times.
We'll see. We'll see. Other news. The Chargers beat the Broncos on Saturday. Is what it is. Not really much to talk about there. The Chargers did win. I think they are now either in the hunt or they're in the hunt for a playoff spot in that wide open AFC. The Ravens beat the Steelers. The only reason I didn't really make this a big topic is because the Steelers didn't have George Pickens. I mean, the Steelers were throwing out there to you and me. They ain't had nobody to throw the ball to. Now the Ravens did cut Deontay Johnson, who ironically is going to the next team we're going to talk about here in a second, is the Chiefs versus the Texans. But the Ravens and the Steelers, that's going to come down to it. And ironically, with Lamar having probably the best year of his career, I don't know if the Ravens get out of the second round or get to the second round.
Hey, man. Ain't my problem. I told y'all at the beginning of the season, if y'all don't go get a wide receiver, then I don't care what happened.
Well, they tried.
Hope
they tried.
The ball. No, you didn't. You didn't.
I can't believe they didn't go get Denard Hopkins. I'd have made that trade yesterday. You let him go to the Chiefs.
Not my problem.
You let him go right to the Chiefs. That gotta be frustrating. We need a wide receiver. All right, who we gonna get? Oh, Denard Hopkins. Nope. Chiefs.
And I think he made the right decision getting over there near Mahomes.
Let's talk about it. Since we're talking about the Chiefs. Chiefs beat the Texans 27-19. Hollywood Brown is back. The Chiefs are back. The offense looked good. It's hard to say the Chiefs are back and they're 13-1, but they are 13-1. Hollywood Brown was figured to be a huge part of this offense because of how dynamic he is with the ball in his hands. You just have to make sure that he can catch the ball. Hell, they were giving him jet sweeps, shovel passes, and then he got confidence, and then they started throwing the ball to the deep routes and all of those things.
That's the reason I will never forgive the Cleveland Browns for what they did with OBJ and Jarvis and Baker. Just hand them the ball.
Well, the thing about the Chiefs with Hollywood Brown, this is what he does. You had Denard Hopkins as your 1, Juju and Xavier Worthy as your 2 and 3, or whoever that is, Travis Kelce, Eric Gray, and another dude at tight end. You had to go 3 tight ends deep. Hollywood Brown comes in. Now all of a sudden, he and Denard Hopkins are moving because there ain't really no number one receiver unless you're Tyreek Hill in that offense or Travis Kelce. It's more of we just get the mismatches.
He has to throw the ball too.
So you got Hollywood Brown now moves. Denard Hopkins and Hollywood Brown are now 1 and 2. So you can't really key on both of them. That moves Xavier Worthy and Juju Smith-Schuster to the 3 and 4. Juju Smith-Schuster surely isn't a good number 2 or number 1, but he is surely a good number 4. Travis Kelce, now you can't double team Travis Kelce anymore. As slow as he is, he gonna still get open. And now you can't. There's no double teaming when Hollywood Brown is in the game because he's too fast. And if you double team him, then it's just Patrick Mahomes going to limp for another 15, 20 yards on first down anyway. Him coming back puts so much pressure on defenses to try to figure out what's going to happen. And Patrick Mahomes has complete command of that offense. Even the Texans, even though they won 27-19, their offense looks more in tune. And I expect for them to get better.
Yeah, and you just have a bunch of players who are used to this. They're used to, hey man, just kind of make it happen. Whatever Mahomes says goes. Y'all just got to go out there and make sure that you stand far enough away from somebody that if something happens, y'all don't get tied up. But outside of that, you're good. This is the best case scenario. So, I mean, for me, I do think that I don't feel comfortable with them continuously winning games this close. I just think that eventually your time runs out, your luck runs out, and then you lose. But until then, until somebody proves me right, I don't have a good answer other than it looks like they're gonna win again.
I mean, it don't make sense. You're right. It don't make sense. It don't make sense. They don't seem good. They don't seem good, but they're 13-1. To not seem good and not think that they're good, and they 13-1. I mean, you just got to sit there and see how it plays out.
I don't have a leg to stand on as far as saying that they're not good because they continue to win. So,
yep,
there's nothing you can do there, but watch and wait like everybody else.
We do want to send T's and P's out to Tank Dell. This game was close. It was a good game, and he had just caught a touchdown. And then Tank Dell ended up, and we saw it if you saw it in real time, you saw it in real time. They're not gonna show it, but he dislocated his kneecap through friendly fire. His own receiver fell into his knee. He tore his ACL and suffered other damage to his knee. Mind you, this is the same. He's had a similar injury last year. I don't know if it's the same leg. He had a similar injury last year, not as severe, where he hurt his knee, or maybe he broke his leg last year, right?
Yeah,
he broke his leg last year.
Remember, he got shot too. Like he's had a rough go of it, man.
And he is loved by the locker room. He is one of, if not the most explosive receiver on that team. Dell underwent surgery. He's supposed to miss the rest of the season. In all honesty, if I were Houston, I would sit him next year too. We in December now.
Yeah, it's late.
10 months is November. 10 months is going to be October.
Favorite receiver and best friend, and he was shook.
Everybody was crying. 10 months from now is October, November, end of October, November. At that point, you might as well just wait until 2026 or fall 2026 for him to come back fully healthy. That's the best you can do. Now, go ahead.
No, I mean, you're right. I 100% agree. At this point, it's tough.
With Tank being out, they did go and claim Deontay Johnson. I do feel that with this loss plus Tank being out, this was a desperation move.
Absolutely.
Deontay Johnson, for whatever reason, didn't get along in Pittsburgh, went to Baltimore. You didn't get along with one of the more stable organizations. You go to Baltimore, which is another stable organization, and you can't get along with Lamar Jackson. And you're supposed to be an integral part of the team, but you act in the ass for whatever happened. So now,
I don't know if that was necessarily getting along with Lamar, or if that was they weren't playing him and he wasn't happy about that. He wasn't getting into the rotation as much as he would have liked to. But I mean, you become an NFL journeyman in a season.
One season.
Real quick. Now, I will say that number one, you should be you should be humble by now. And also, as much as this is like, let's get him, this is also a move to let's not let the Chiefs get him. Like, I 100% say that if they don't claim him, the Chiefs are going to get him. This is the benefit to kind of losing some games. And yeah, I'm not letting you go to be with Pat Mahomes. Not a chance. We're trying to beat him. You know that?
Yeah, I hear you. I don't know. I don't think the Chiefs had room. I mean, he is getting close to being a locker room cancer stereotype. That's what he's starting to get to.
I think they would have figured out a way to make it work. I think the NFL is happier that
If
he's not
anybody
there.
could, it'd be them.
Right. And I mean, and you know, at this point, Andy Reid gonna tell you the truth. This is last train of parents, my boy. You don't get it here, you get it nowhere. I want to be very clear about that.
Playing
So you
spring
can
ball,
either
jamboree ball with the
right.
XFL.
No, you'd be right. I was just about to say that. You can either you want to be right or you won't go home. That's the two options you have here. You can come over here and act like you got some sense, or hey, you saw it happen to AB. They don't miss you when you gone.
Mm-hmm. Take
That'll
that
be
health
you.
insurance away too at CTE.
Right. They take everything away from you.
Lions beat the Bears. Not really anything special about that, other than a great trick play that the Bears did where they faked a stumble. They faked a stumble, turned around, and threw a 60-yard touchdown or a 30-yard touchdown.
This is elite play calling, but this is also so rough that I mean, Chicago. Like I kind of like this, but I kind of think to myself, why did you waste this on Chicago? We wasted a good surprise on you, type of thing. So
well, they stole this play. They stole this play from Green Bay or something like last week, and they just put it in the playbook to try it. This is what Kansas City do. This is what Kansas City do. They do some wild play every week. They threw the ball to the tackle last week. They used that play. They did a reverse pass to Penix Sewell 3 weeks ago.
You also got to know that you're not getting any pass rush for you to like fake the stumble. Because if you do that with Michael Parsons or TJ Watt or Joey Bosa, you'd be scooping him up off the ground.
Mr. Make America Great Again been asked since he wore that hat. I ain't putting Joey Bosa on there. Joey or Nick.
Okay. Think that if you want to.
But this was a great play. Yeah. This was a great play.
Won't come be Falcons?
No, they ain't coming here. Ain't coming no.
Oh no, Atlanta is surely not the place they want to be.
Hell no.
Full John Rocker.
Batteries and all. So oh, you remember that? Let's talk about the playoff outlook. Reggie. And what? That was a funny joke.
It was.
So you got the playoff outlook, and then we'll get out of here. Lamar. Oh, by the way, Lamar said he's gonna watch Beyonce in the pregame and said don't care what the hardballs are saying.
Who's gonna stop her?
Nobody. These are the teams that have clinched. AFC. So the Kansas City Chiefs, Baltimore Ravens, Pittsburgh Steelers, Houston Texans, and Buffalo Bills have all clinched playoff spots. The Lions, Eagles, and Vikings have all clinched playoff spots. And in the hunt are a whole bunch of mid. The Falcons, the Rams, the Dolphins, the Chargers, Commanders, Seahawks, Green Bay, Bengals, Bucks, Broncos. I don't believe that the Colts are really in it, but they got them on there for this graphic, so I'll say it.
Yeah, they look. Yeah, Colts barely holding on. Dolphins, y'all going home. Bengals, y'all going home. Rams, y'all going home. Now the Chargers, Seahawks, Broncos.
You said the Rams are going home? The Rams that lead their division.
Are they the winner of the NFC West?
Yes, right now. 49ers been eliminated. They hold the tiebreaker over the Seahawks, and the Cardinals have been eliminated. That's why it's only them two in the running.
And they talk bad about the NFC South. I don't want to hear nothing bad about the NFC South.
Why? All the teams in the NFC West are better than two of the teams in the NFC South. Every single one.
I'm not sure the Rams are better than the Falcons.
The Rams are better than the Panthers. The Rams are better than the Saints.
I think the Falcons could be better than the Rams and the Seahawks. And I think the Bucs at full strength are better than everybody.
That don't matter. I said I think the Cardinals are better than the Saints. I think the Cardinals are better than the Panthers. I think the 49ers, as they are now, are better than the Saints and are better than the Panthers. 4 teams are better than 4 teams versus 2. 4 versus 2.
That's fair. You got a point. I'll give it to you.
But with all of that seeding being said, it really don't matter. It really don't matter. It's really the 1 seeds in the NFC that is up for grabs. It's the Detroit Lions, the Detroit hospital beds, the Detroit IRs, the surprising Vikings. I keep saying I don't believe in the Vikings, but every week they keep winning. And they keep winning. And then, of course, you got the Vikings. If the Vikings win out, they get the number 1 seed. If the Lions win out, they get the number 1 seed. If the Vikings win out, they get the number 1 seed. Mind you, the Vikings and Lions play in week 17.
Yeah, like this one could.
Then, of course, you also have the
part
Eagles.
About this is the Lions have lost so many players. It's going to be tough.
But the Eagles have to beat the Cowboys and the Giants. The Vikings lose to the Packers and the Lions lose to the 49ers and Vikings, which tells me that that you can go ahead and discount the Eagles. I don't think when you got to have 4-5 things happen, I don't think that happens. That's like a parlay. You got to hit the parlay.
Don't stop believing.
So that number 1 seed, I told you the NFC was open. I really do think that the Vikings may end up getting the number 1 seed just because the Lions are so hurt. The Lions are so hurt. Like, they're really hurt, but they're so good. Yeah. They are head and shoulders above everybody else.
That is the tough part is if you're the GM, you're like, bro, don't ask me for nothing else. I put together the best team in the NFL. I think top to bottom, that roster is, and hell, look at the Jets. That's coaching, though. That's just elite coaching.
Mm-hmm. It is. It definitely is. I mean, I think the Vikings. If I wouldn't be surprised if the Lions get it. If the Lions get it, I mean, that's amazing. With that team, that is amazing. But we're gonna see. Now, Christmas Day games. You're going to get some more clarity in the AFC.
Oh, happy Christmas Eve. We done made it now.
Christmas Eve. Kansas City versus Pittsburgh. Baltimore versus Houston. On Netflix. I ain't really real excited about it being on Netflix, but we get to watch these games.
Oh, I am. Well, yeah. Well, I guess it don't matter. The reason I like that is because I can have my Netflix account, which nobody better be on, and then YouTube, and then I can have everything going because you got basketball going at this.
Got 200 billion games of basketball being played.
Not the Hawks though, so there's that. We get some
rest. And the Falcons get some rest too. But this is gonna be fun. Lamar's gonna watch Beyonce. I'm gonna watch Beyonce.
Wait, we gotta pick those games.
Oh yeah, because we ain't gonna be able to.
No, hell no. It should be easy though. I'm picking the Chiefs.
Yeah, Chiefs Baltimore.
4:30 is tough.
Chiefs Baltimore.
Yeah, Chiefs in Baltimore.
Chiefs Baltimore.
Right.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Houston wins, and I wouldn't be surprised if Pittsburgh wins. But Pittsburgh without George Pickens, they throw. I told you they throwing the ball.
They say he might play though, and he's crazy. So
and he got but it's a hamstring. I mean, if he might play, that mean he ain't full strength. So I mean, and in the cold, you playing with a pulled soft tissue muscle in the cold. Shit,
that is not advisable. Not advisable.
Oh man! But ladies and gentlemen, we are going to. You want to do basketball? I'm here for it. No?
Oh no! Tomorrow during lunch.
I won't be here during lunch. Okay, well, I don't know. I might be. I'll let you know. We're gonna take a break. We'll be back tomorrow, or for those that are listening to the recording, we'll be back. Y'all listen to some of these sponsors. As always, like, follow, subscribe. Norwood, see you tomorrow because you have to take us out tomorrow.
Yes. Yeah. We take y'all out tomorrow once again. Thank you guys for being here tonight on this beloved Christmas Eve. You could have been anywhere else in the world. You came and kicked it with me and Reg. And yeah, we'll finish this tomorrow. And Chiefs, Ravens, got those two picked. And then, yeah, I guess we'll probably pick some basketball games tomorrow too. We'll pick the Christmas basketball games. Let's do that. Outside of that, though, peace.
Pistons beat the Lakers. Peace.
Oh, that's great for the Hawks. Great for the Hawks. You know that the Lakers hold our pick. So yeah, lose.
We hold their pick.
Yes, correct.
Y'all stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Until next time. What should they do? Like, follow, subscribe. Thank you, my friend. Here for it.